That's fun. That's cool. Hi, everybody. Give me a second. OBS just decided to have a freak out and change the show. There we go.
I want to play Bryn.
Hello. Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, that's the anniversary thing. We're all just gonna play different characters from another show. I'm gonna let everybody on Descent into Avernus know that now they have to do whatever bullshit we've been doing for a year. I'm sure they're going to be very excited.
I'm 90% sure that Rin and I are the same type of player. So.
Oh yes, yeah. You and someday I'm gonna get you and Elf in the same group, and it's gonna be a total nightmare. And I'm so excited about it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we're like the same person for players, so like zero difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hello, welcome everybody. We are celebrating today the 1-year anniversary of the show. Facebook reminded me this morning. They were like, "Hey, you've been doing this for a year," and I was like, "Cool. This is the only thing you're good for now. Facebook is just reminding me when things happened."
Nice. Which I did last week. So catch up, Facebook.
I think our obligation now, then, given that this is an anniversary episode, is that we either have to do like a clip show or a bottle episode, or like a holodeck episode, or it's gonna be somebody's dream or fantasy, right? Like it's a whole episode is set in Winnegar's dreams. I feel
someone's
like
gonna hit their head, and then it's like a fantastic sort of thing. We're all friends.
What is it? Not the Wizard of Oz episode, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You were there, and you were there.
And you were there.
Well,
one of us is gonna have a fever dream.
We've talked about something like this before, because Carlos, you gave me the answer to this question already. It's not Dallas. It's what's the other one that ends with it's all a dream.
The Bob Hope one, the Bob Newhart ends in a dream, and it's not the St. Elmo's. The universe one where it's in the kid's mind.
The one where it's in the snow globe. Is that?
Well,
that's not General Hospital.
There's two. There's the one where the kid there's a lot of these. This is why we have to do an episode like this, because everybody else has done it.
There's also
Ravnica Smooches and Secrets. Yay! Kind of sounds like my regular show, but I'm not mad.
There's the
musical episode is 5-year anniversary, by the way. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Good to know.
Have you guys seen the episode of Buffy where
Buffy?
Oh, that's right.
That's the only musical episode I've seen.
That's the other one. The episode Masood is talking about, that's the other one, the horror version of that, where it's like the whole premise of the show was a bad dream, and she keeps flashing to the hospital, and they're like, "Wake up, Buffy! You're not really a superhero. Vampires aren't real." And she's like, "Ah!" And then at the end, she finds out it was all a demon trying to trick her, right? Yeah.
Allegedly, but it cut back, so you can't tell. Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's kind of
sorry. I've only seen one episode of Buffy, and so I'm like
on it.
Yeah, I've only seen one episode. It was the musical episode.
Also, very good episode.
So here's this is a nice segue into a question that somebody in chat asked. So I looked up Dallas because I was trying to figure out the name of Patrick Duffy. That was the actor I was thinking of, because he has a scene in some show where it was all a dream. I still haven't figured that out, but I didn't know that Knots Landing was a Dallas spinoff, first of all. So that's interesting. Second, there was another spinoff called War of the Ewings, which I feel is appropriate given that Carlos and Katie May and I have all taken a brief trip to Middle Earth today.
I like that Katie May's face is what my brain is doing, where she's like,
Can you show us? Can you show us around? Can you pick up the laptop and show us around?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Give us a tour.
Cribs.
Please.
I'm in Colorado for the week. So I'm playing from my dad's gamer den in the house where I played Dungeons and Dragons for the first time.
Why did you do this with your
hands? Gamer den.
Gen Z, don't ask. It's all right.
I was doing a bit, and I'm really sorry. I'm in the gamer den. We've got 4 Lord of the Rings posters. I'll take off the camera. We've got four Lord of the Rings posters. The final one is back here at side.
Yes. Oh my god.
It's the best one.
Amazing. It is.
Can you just do the whole show with just the camera on this?
Just shaky cam.
Yeah. Not you, just the camera.
Collection.
Yeah, actually, if you could just leave and then call Ian McKellen and have him come be on the show, that'd be really great.
Yeah,
He's not busy right now.
I love him.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Okay.
Katie May, do your best Gandalf impression.
Absolutely not.
No,
He doesn't sound like that. He doesn't sound like that. Do another one.
like that. It
I don't
doesn't
know.
even
Say
say that.
fly you
Doing that.
fools, but it's Gandalf. Do it.
No.
Do it.
Okay. You don't have to. It's okay. You don't have to listen to TK. They're not the boss
And then
of
the
you.
miniature
Peer
painting
pressure, peer
station is
pressure.
over here.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is
really.
that? What is that
Delightful.
poster above the painting station?
I don't want to talk about it. And then
I want to know what it is now. What is it?
Yeah, what is that?
I don't
What's
wanna
the
talk
worst
about it.
answer you could have
Listen,
given?
it's a
It's like the
picture.
dark-
It's obviously just a picture of Katie May kicking Chuck E. Cheese in the butt really hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wait, what is it? It has to be Lord of the Rings, right? It can't be.
Everything else.
What if
not.
it's not?
It's
No,
just
it's
like
not.
a very stereotypical hot fantasy lady.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a
Oh.
Boris Vallejo?
Oh, I have no idea.
Julie Bell? Probably not.
Why am I so stressed out? I'm so stressed out.
Are you sweaty now?
The number
Yes.
of people, TK, the number of people that can recognize a Boris Vallejo at a glance, that list does not include Katie May. It's
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because like the color on it was very like Vallejo, like with the pop.
Yeah.
It's a very pop of color.
fantasy bodybuilders fighting or relaxing with tigers
Yeah.
or other leonine creatures.
It's really hard to tell because like the chainmail unitards and bikinis that they're wearing are like, is this like load bearing or is it decoration?
Yeah. It's always interesting looking at that old art and being like, what are you doing exactly? What's happening here? Yeah. The thing I'm curious about, Katie May, is the computer in that room the same age as all the posters?
No.
Does it have AIM installed on it? Can you send me an
No,
ICQ
it's-
message?
It's
Is it-
yeah.
Is it a compact Basario?
Yeah.
Yes. It's got Pentium 2 on it. Ooh, you bad.
Wow.
I don't know what any of that means, and you know that.
We do.
No, I don't know what's
We
going
do,
on.
sorry.
Yes. That's
God, when
that's
was the
why
last
we
time
were
I
doing
saw a
Katie and her
compact
grandpas.
computer?
Compact Presario. Is that company doesn't exist anymore, right? Like
No.
it was
No.
some other company
Compact-
bought it. and
Probably
absorbed it.
Microsoft. Yeah.
God, I feel like Microsoft bought Gateway. Did Microsoft buy Gateway?
I love our.
Oh, well,
tech
it doesn't
podcast.
ma- it
This
doesn't
is
matter.
so
It doesn't
good.
matter.
It's a good. So here you go. I'm only mentioning this because I love a good portmanteau. But Compact is a portmanteau of compatibility and quality. That's why
Is
they
it?
named. Yes, that's why it's yeah. It's called Compact because it's a shortened version of compatibility and quality.
But is it
You just get mainly got
compatible and
compatibility.
quality,
You just
though?
yeah.
This is back when people used computers for business, right? They were not like they weren't for fun. They were business machines. So
I wonder why they didn't just go with compact. I guess they really want to get quality
you
in
gotta
there.
jam that Q
Oh,
in.
HP bought compact.
Yeah, there
Thank
you
you.
go.
Ah.
Dell bought Gateway.
Right.
Oh, I
Okay.
forgot Dell is
What was-
still a thing.
What was the
Dell
one with
is-
what was the one with the cow pattern? That was Dell.
That's what I
right?
was trying to remember.
Yeah, Dell
Uh,
had the
the cow-
cows.
No,
Right?
Gateway had the cows.
Right. I think
Gateway
I'm thinking
had
And
of it
then
because they
Dell
bought the
now has
branding
the
and-
cows. Yeah.
Yeah, because wasn't that the thing? Like, you can design your own computer and it'll come to you in like some weird. I don't know why it was a cow. That doesn't make sense. Does someone in the chat know that?
90s, early 2000s branding was a total nightmare. Like nothing
90s,
made
early
any sense.
2000s, any branding, fashion, it was a wasteland.
It
It, was
really was, yeah.
post-apocalyptic dystopia.
hmm
Why did
Fringe on everything. I
Dude.
watched the Cheetah Girls movie yesterday, and I was like, wow.
Now that I
Yeah.
can talk about.
Okay,
I did-
okay.
I did
I'm
a-
just trying
I
to
did a
include you,
Cheetah Girl
Katie May.
song. I did a Cheetah Girl song by myself for
I
my
don't
fifth
want to
grade
be
talent
like
show.
Cinderella.
Wait, hold on. I want to hear this story.
Yes.
That's
Also,
Yeah,
the
tell
whole
me.
story.
was it a solo from
you
the
did a
movie or was it a
cheetah-
duet? Like
But wait, aren't the Cheetah
Oh,
Girls
like
dancers?
four people.
They're
I
a
did it by
four-person
myself.
pop group.
It's
There
a
is-
four-person- Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I
there's
thought they were, like-
Galleria, there's Chanel, there is Dorinda, who also goes by Do Re Mi, and then there's Aqua, and her actual name is Aquanet. But in the story series in the books, she was a twin with her sister Anjanette. So it was Angie and Aqua.
But they do. But it's like, hold on. So they're
Yes.
like kind of like the Spice Girls, right?
Yeah,
Hold on,
sure.
there's a book series.
Yeah, it was the okay, so the movies were based off the book series, but then the movies evolved into their own franchise and they ended up making a genuine pop group that was inspired by the movie
Katie,
and the book series.
Katie, was your performance inspired by the book series?
the movie.
I will
Do you
guarantee
consider yourself
movie.
more Watchmen the film or Watchmen the TV show?
That's what we
Would
wanna
Alan
know.
Moore appreciate your...
Yeah.
So wait, so you went on stage and you did the dance and the singing and all that by yourself?
All
Yeah,
4
yes.
parts?
Dorinda
Yes,
is the big
You got
dancer.
balls. I
So
don't know how you did that.
which character did you most, was it Galleria?
Gosh, I centered myself around Raven Simone for my entire
Galleria.
childhood.
So it's
Reasons.
Galleria.
Yes.
It's gotta be, gotta be.
Yeah, she
her.
also goes by Bubbles. I don't know why. But she
So
becomes like a
good.
total diva in the movie. And she's like, yes, I'm the founder of the Cheetah Girls. And no, we won't be taking these, blah, 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 like stuff like that.
We have this. There's a club in Vancouver that does, and I'm sure Vancouver's not the only place that does it. But they do hip hop karaoke where people will essentially just perform. They have the beats without the rhymes on top, and so they'll just play them, and you have to remember the rhymes and do them. One time when I went, this guy, and he had to be like almost 7 feet tall, and he probably weighed like 100 pounds. And he had this
I
huge,
love him.
this huge knit sweater on. He was very Scandinavian, and he like shyly and awkwardly came up on stage, and he did all of Triumph by himself, every single part, all of them, like all fucking 7 minutes of it. And I was just like, yes, you go, Swedish guy. You have not lived until you've heard Triumph, but rapped by a Swedish dude.
I love this shy Ronnie Slender Man that you have introduced us
Yes,
to.
exactly. Yeah, I believe
For
it's
some
the
reason-
Svender Man. He was from Sweden.
For some reason, Serena's always trying to
quit.
like to challenge me to challenge her to sing all of Rap God. Like for some reason, like she like I shouldn't, maybe I should be saying this on stream, but a lot of like, well, I don't know what we'll be doing. We'll be like watching TV or a movie, and like she'll be like, oh yeah, I know all of Rap God, and I'm like, oh okay, and then she she wants me to dare her to do it.
You know what? My husband is the same way, where he's like constantly trying to get me into like a twerk battle. And I'm like, baby,
Same thing.
you win. Like, you win. Like, I'm not gonna humiliate myself.
In the words of
Actually,
a very
really good.
In the words of a very insightful computer from the 80s, an interesting game. The only way to win is not to play.
To play.
It's,
Gump?
I don't.
Gump?
I'm gonna break my neck or something, and he will take it to the extreme. He'll be like, "Look, I do a handstand," and I'm like, "Stop."
I am Googling twerking related fatalities because I don't know if you can break your neck.
I don't think you can.
I mean, I guess if you
They're
tried
actually-
real hard, you could.
So there was one. I just saw this article about this Jamaican dance hall festival that was happening, and a woman broke her neck while doing a handstand dance and died. And so it does
Oh my
happen.
god.
Way to take
Be
it down,
careful.
Masood.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We live in
Jesus.
2020.
This is
It's
our
not all
anniversary
sunshines
show,
and rainbows
okay?
all the time. Hey, I'm a dad
true.
now. All right, that's my anniversary.
So I think I'm looking at the Snopes.com article about that exact event. It was a twerking challenge in Miami, and the dancer in question, her name is DHQ Headtop.
Oh, you said is, not was.
Yeah, she is still alive. She won the contest,
What?
and instead
I
of being,
should say so.
and instead of being dead, she got $25,000. So congratulations.
Hell
What?
to you.
Nice.
So wait, they
Well
just
done.
started that rumor about her
Yes.
being dead?
Well, because there's a picture from the event where it looks like her neck is like bent at a weird angle, and if you didn't know the
Oh.
context, and you're like, oh my god, she just fell on her neck and probably died. It's just part of a
Gotcha.
larger move, and it's a freeze frame, so it looks really awkward. But yeah,
Hecky, yeah.
there's a happy ending to that story.
Yeah,
Wow.
Thank God.
Yeah, right. Twerking still safe.
they'll say.
Still safe. Good.
This feels staged. That's what I have to say about this.
She's trying to get her name out there.
Which part?
The whole thing so far.
Just everything. Yeah, including our telling of the story. I see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
Which one of us is waking up and realizing it's a dream this episode?
I mean, I don't know if I believe you, and my good friend Aragorn and Gandalf, they agree with me, so.
Oh no.
I feel like, Carlos, no one should ever have showed us that you can add a green screen background in Zoom. Like, we should just never been told about that. It would have been safer and better for everybody.
Oh God, but like on the other hand, look at this.
Yeah,
look at this
true.
beautifulness. The other day I saw this reminds me actually, the other day I saw Seventh Son. Have you ever heard of that movie?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Came out in 2014. Julianne Moore's in it.
Yes.
So is Jeff Bridges, and it's like it's like Lord of the Rings meets Scott Pilgrim. It's so bad. It's like, I wish more people saw it. Yeah.
Isn't he finds out he's the seventh son of a seventh son. He has to fight monsters. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay, basically.
I think I remember the poster of this. Yeah.
It's rated like an 11 on Rotten Tomatoes. And
is there a lot of blue in the poster?
Oh God, there's a bunch of posters. We looked up all of them. Anyway.
Julianne Moore she was in Boogie Nights, right?
Probably.
I think she was. I like her. She's good.
It's so funny that was the one that came to your mind first.
It's the most recent one I've seen. I'm looking now. Yeah, that's the most recent Julianne Moore movie that I have seen. But I think she was also. Oh, she's also in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And so is Jeff Bridges.
So is Jeff Bridges.
Funny
that's right,
because they're both doing wackadoo accents, and it's a good time.
They're like, yo, this beach house is not going to pay for itself. It's money.
It was like a movie of favors. Like there's a bunch of famous people in that, and it's like like I had the guy from the Ben Barnes, I think his name is. He's like in the Narnia series or whatever. Had like the woman from Tomb Raider.
Her name is
Angelina Jolie.
Lara Croft.
The new Tomb Raider or the old Tomb Raider?
The new one.
Oh, okay. Something.
Alice.
Alessia.
I don't know.
Katie May, are you having a good time watching your old friends try to remember things?
Is the last name Vikander? I want to say the last name is Vikander.
Yeah. That's her name.
We all get to do our favorite things during the anniversary show, and this is mine.
I remember seeing her in the Tomb Raider. Like, she does a lot of her own stunts, which was really cool. But like, I always remember seeing her in like the Tomb Raider trailers, and she has like just small arms, and that always bothers me whenever like in the Tomb Raider PC games,
like her arms her arms are
short,
or it's a lack of musculature that bothers you.
They got thin little. She's got thin arms, lack of musculature.
I really, really like that you were telling me this while you're wearing a sleeveless shirt.
I just worked out. Just let me.
I just worked out over there at the gym.
I work out at my house. I hate other people. Yeah. I just want because like Lara Croft in the PC Tomb Raider games, when she would climb up cliffs, she would like climb and then she'd do like a freaking handstand and then backflip onto the cliff. And so she was like constantly doing like upper arm stuff. And I just want every Tomb Raider to have the same arms as Gina Carano.
See, I always think of Tia Carrere when I think of Tomb Raider because of Relic Hunter. And because their marketing just happened to work on my brain, because that's what they wanted, right? They wanted you to be like, yeah, this is like it's definitely like a Tomb Raider show. Yeah. Like, we don't own the property, but it's just Tomb Raider. So that's every time I think of Tomb Raider, I'm like,
I mean, Tomb Raider is just Indiana Jones.
Oh, I wish it would have showed up a little bit better. This poster is impossible. Look at the photoshopping on it. It makes no sense at all.
Oh, I don't like her makeup. It's not her fault, but I don't like it.
Is that Julianne Moore?
Yeah. What's up with her nose?
But like right here is his shoulder, and this is a staff, right? And it just makes no sense. Like, how
can you just get out of the way so I can just look at the whole poster? One master, one apprentice, one future. Okay, what a tagline!
When did this movie come out?
Why would they choose that tagline for something that says seventh son?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Because like numbers are obviously.
Why not cool? Like the sun also rises, but spell it SON. Yeah.
Whoa.
Taglines. I got them.
Yeah.
Get out.
Or on the seventh day, the bad dudes rested. Yeah, right, guys.
Yeah.
That'd be good, right, guys?
I see Vinegar is ready. He's primed.
Time to cross the
No.
seventh horizon.
Fucking hate y'all.
I'm
Or
sorry.
Morgan Freeman. There are 7 deadly sins. What's in the box?
If
The
anybody,
sun.
One of those 7th son is just what's in the box.
if
Yeah.
anybody thought that they were gonna get to watch anyone play Dungeons and Dragons today, it feels like they were gravely mistaken.
We're on the
Sorry.
29, so
No,
What if this is
we-
the one where we just keep going and
Yeah.
everyone's waiting the whole time? Like, are they gonna start?
Are they? Oh, it was all this was a dream Winnegar was having.
Yeah.
yeah. Jokes on
We're
y'all.
not
We
in
were
the
only
next
contracted
podcast.
for a year, so if Jace Beleren doesn't die in this episode,
Mhm.
I don't know what to tell you.
No, I think
Yeah,
I think
welcome to the series finale of Jace Beleren Must Die.
yeah, there's no actual content. It's just this is the commentary, the DVD commentary, which Katie May used to be a thing where they would put out DVDs,
Fuck
which are
off.
physical,
I-
and then they would have an audio track by the director or the showrunner or the cast, and then they would talk over the movie, explaining the things that they had done in the movie, and they would
Why?
make jokes and
Why
Have
wouldn't
you
they
ever
just go on
listened
a podcast
to
and do that?
have you ever listened to Arnold Schwarzenegger's
Yes.
commentary for True Lies?
yes, it's very good.
It's so good. He's just
I
like
haven't heard that
he's
one.
just talking about how great he is in that movie. He's like, oh, watch this. He's just
That's exactly what I would do, though. Would
Yeah.
you not
Yeah.
also?
It's awesome.
Well,
I love
although-
him.
the
Have you
follow.
heard,
I was gonna
heard
say the
the,
follow up for this is just the Mila Jovovich, her voiceover thing for Resident Evil. She's doing it alone, which is very uncomfortable because she's just by herself, and she says basically nothing for most of it, and then every once in a while we'll pipe in with a totally random comment. Usually it's like, "Oh hey, wait, okay, pay attention to this next scene. That was my boob," and that's it.
That's okay.
Which is good.
Which Resident Evil was it where she's watching? She was like, "Oh, I was so drunk through this scene."
Jesus.
I don't remember, but it was awesome. I was like,
isn't the director of those movies her husband though? Or am I thinking of Kate Beckinsale and her husband?
though
They're all the same
TBH.
person to me.
Or Judd Apatow and Leslie Mann.
Yeah, right. Sure. Just everybody who's married, they're all the same to me. Carlos, was that you in that movie?
Yeah, it was. Have you listened to? I don't know. I doubt it's on a commentary disc somewhere, but it's Ben Affleck watching Armageddon drunk.
Oh no.
Have you seen that? That's hilarious. I highly recommend YouTubing that. He
Is
just lets
Armageddon
it
the
all
one
out.
with which is the one with Liv Tyler in it?
Yeah, she's in it.
That's Armageddon? Okay.
Yeah.
I always get that in
Yeah.
Deep Impact wrong.
And-
Yeah, they
mixed
came
up.
out the same time.
Yeah, you
There
do.
was a
I'm
time
sorry.
when movies, like there was a volcano movie and like 2 volcano movies came out the same year, and then 2 end of the world asteroid movies came out the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know why that happens.
It would actually be kind of fun, especially with this game, to go back to the like first episode and watch it and do commentary on it, because we didn't all know each other all that well when we got started, and
That's true.
The energy of the cast is so different now. Like we all kind of got on each other's level bullshit wise, and so it would be really interesting to go back and watch me try to run it like it's a real D&D game.
I am totally down to do
Yeah.
that right now.
You guys remember?
If you want to
Yeah.
set that up, I am totally down to do that.
I'll make a note. I'll see if we can figure out a way to do it that is
How come
actually good.
Netflix doesn't have commentary? Does Netflix have
I'm gonna
commentary?
guess
Some of them
licensing.
have, like audio
them do.
description, and
Yeah.
like, that's like. where
I
they
feel
talk
like
about
early
it.
Netflix had like a commentary option for some of the movies.
Yeah, I want to say they did, but they don't have them now. Like it should be so easy because you can turn on the languages, right? So you
Yeah.
should just be able to turn on.
Yeah,
the
you have
audio
separate audio
feed.
Yeah,
tracks.
like that's why I feel like it was in languages, and you would think that they would do that for their Netflix originals too, just to be
Yeah.
I think I
like,
honestly
we
just,
understand this movie is terrible, but
I honestly just think that commentary might have just been a product of the time, and they probably did some product testing and focus grouping and stuff, and we're like, does anyone want this? And everyone was like, no, we don't. I don't care
Yeah.
about that shit.
Not enough. It was probably like not enough people
Well, remember
wanted it to like, so they would put it on their servers and host it and like all that stuff.
remember when DVDs first came out, and Katie Mae, you don't have to participate in this conversation because you're like 3. That's okay. But they were originally touted as like a collector's product, right? Where it was like, if you love movies, you need to buy the DVD version of this movie you already have on VHS. Because it was like to get people, because they weren't buying new movies. It was to get you to convert your collection, right? Like, this is the best thing you can have. And so all these extras were like sort of cinephile extras, right? Everybody was kind of trying to be Criterion, where they were like behind the scenes and trailers and foreign trailers and TV spots. And you were like, yeah, I'm going to buy this because I'm a super fan of, I don't know, like whatever movie. Netflix, though, is like, watch as much of this as you possibly can in as many times as you possibly can. Watch the whole show in one sitting. Don't stop. Yeah. Like, it's a different, I think it's a different intended experience.
I love it.
Yeah.
What was your first movie that you saw that had like a DVD advertisement attached to the trailers?
I think it might have been Hercules.
Mine was Jumanji.
Yeah.
Wait, it
Definitely.
had a DVD advertisement? What does that mean?
It was like so some VHSs had trailers at the beginning of the movie, and then they would be like, oh, and buy DVDs and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't even remember that.
Yeah. Mine was Jumanji, because it was like, we know you rented this VHS of Jumanji, but also you could be watching the DVD of Jumanji.
That's my favorite marketing trick. The thing you just bought, it's not that good. You could have bought a better version, you stupid moron. Like, wow, thanks. That's good.
We got I remember DVDs. I was working at a Blockbuster when DVDs came out. And
you were.
When they cleared off one shelf. One shelf is what they cleared off of like VHS tapes, and they replaced it with like 5 DVDs, and this was the DVD section because DVDs were coming that December.
Yeah.
And it was like the Santa Claus was on the shelf. Like, that's all I remember being there.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they didn't have to be a good movie. It's okay.
Every time I think of Blockbuster, I think of Pokemon Snap, and then right behind it was all of the anime, but for some reason they couldn't distinguish anime from hentai, so all of the anime was in the hentai section.
No.
It's all the same.
And it was like right like beside each other, Pokemon Snap. The Pokemon Snap game, where they were like, yeah, just go pick out your movie and have your kid play Pokemon Snap right beside the hentai anime section.
So the first DVDs released were March of 1997, and they were not widely distributed. And apparently, they were such exciting films as Bridges of Madison County, Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah.
Many of these are like good movies, like Blade Runner is on that list, Goodfellas, but then also like The Mask was part of the first set of DVDs.
How dare you? Do not.
Yeah.
You need to be very careful right now, Adam.
The Mask was in that
really
batch.
Masterclass.
Be very careful.
I haven't seen it since the year of our Lord 1997, so maybe I need to watch it again.
That was during my phase where I was convinced that I was going to marry both Jim Carrey and Cameron Diaz.
Oh, wow.
And I will not have that ruined by you.
I remember there was a Mask cartoon show that came out.
Yes.
I watched too much of that show.
There's like, I remember just assuming it would be horrible because all those spin-off shows were horrible, like Police Academy, and MC Hammer had his own cartoon. But I remember watching half of one episode where these two bank robbers or two criminals get zapped with some machine and they become mutants of some sort, and the one guy has like all these powers, he's super strong, he has laser eyes, whatever, and all this, and the other guy is just a fish, and I just could not stop laughing. And the other guy's like carrying him around robbing banks, and he's like, I'm just a fish. I don't know.
The Mask walked so that Freakazoid could run.
True. Yes, that's true. Freakazoid was really good. Yeah.
I actually don't know what that is.
You don't know Freakazoid?
Do
you know like Jackie Chan Adventures?
It's a WB.
Around that time?
Jackie Chan Adventures.
It's a WB cartoon that was about. It was like a tongue-in-cheek superhero cartoon about a superhero called Freakazoid. I think he was a scientist during the day, and he was like the Freakazoid at night.
He was like a college science TA student type person. And the thing that made him into Freakazoid is that he typed like a very obscure computer.
Oh yeah, it was definitely like
I want to
90s
say
computer stuff.
Yeah, it was like a computer command, and then by hitting like the delete or the enter button or something, he was able to become Freakazoid. It was very oh, I was struck by lightning while taking a shower under hard water.
He used the machine. He used the machine to turn from Steve Urkel to Stefan Urkel. And
oh my God, Stefan Urkel. I loved him.
Yeah. Anyway, it was good. It was a funny cartoon in the same way that like it felt a lot like Animaniacs. I think it was the same team.
It was. Freakazoid, I think, was a bit character, so it was like a spin-off show.
Yeah. It was like how Wayne's World got a movie. Yeah, well, I mean, all of that is just to say that we're announcing today the Kickstarter for the Jace Beleren Must Die animated series. We need $3 million. So if you've just got it laying around,
simple $3 million. That's not too bad.
How will we split $3 million?
Well, 1 million is going to tentacle animation mechanics. So
we're actually doing this. I thought that we were embezzling. Okay, well,
so who is that?
That's Freakazoid.
That is the titular character of Freakazoid.
I never realized how close Freakazoid's costume was to the Incredibles.
I mean, it's a generic. I mean, they're all based on like kind of early superhero like weightlifter costumes. But yes,
Incredibles apologist.
I didn't say the Incredibles never happened. Like it's. I'm not a Pixar denier. Okay, it's real. It's just
the Incredibles numbers vastly inflated.
Carlos, you need to change it.
Anyway.
I love him.
I can't do it. Don't kiss him.
I've been waiting for this smooch.
Give that freak a smooch.
It's Smoochazoid.
No.
Well,
we are 10 minutes past, so we should do something.
I believe we are contractually obligated to play Dungeons and Dragons, which is what everybody ostensibly turned up for. But let's do it. I was really tempted to do like a flashback or a dream sequence or whatever, but I feel like the show has enough ridiculousness in it that I don't really need to try for it. So
that's fair.
I updated the overlay, so everybody's class stuff should be good, should be on target now. So we've spent the last couple of episodes watching the great kind of machinery of Ravnican magical politics continue grinding onward, and you have all kind of been dragged along with that. But there is now sort of this period of relative, I don't want to say inaction, but things go underground, right? So what we probably start on is one of those scenes where skeuomorphic isn't the right word, but we explain to the audience what's been going on and kind of what the state is through a story element of the game. So in this case, it would likely be, I guess the easy one to do would be like a crier on the corner, right? Being like selling newspapers and being like, Azori is at war with the Golgari, read all about it. Like, and then following from that character to like several kind of hushed conversations, people looking nervous, a new prov in the background. And above it, the state of emergency kind of like banner glowing red in the sky, giving the whole neighborhood this kind of dull, rusty glow. No sign of the Golgari anywhere above ground. We see none of the usual like cleanup crews. The shots will be structured explicitly to illustrate a lack of these people who have up to this point always been kind of present, whether in the background or otherwise. But it's clear that with Vraska's leaving New Prov and with the death of Asperia, everybody has kind of gone to ground. The guilds have returned after the failed summit and are figuring out what to do now. The real and maybe as a kind of like framing thing, maybe we would get some vignettes, right? Of like Ral late at night working on Project Lightning Bug, some mysterious is it machinery around him, little arcs of light. Maybe he hears a sound and turns to look. And we see a like a plate with a sandwich and like a glass of water sitting on his desk. And we see Tomek like leaving the room, like walking out. And Ral makes a face like he wants to talk to him or like stop and go to him. And then he's reminded like, no, I have to work. I can't. And there's this kind of sad moment between the two of them. We probably get to see the way that the Rakdos are responding to all of this tension, which is just to party even harder. So we would see Judith overseeing one of the many circuses in Rixmati. There's a Wilhelm scream in the background as somebody is torn apart by beasts, and everybody is cheering and screaming, but there's something underneath it. There is a different kind of tension. This isn't catharsis. This is the attempt to pretend like everything is normal. But even here in Rixmati, things are shifting somewhat. And I think that the last scene that we see before we fade over to the host in the shell is the empty Guild Summit Hall, right? It looks like a sepulcher now. It's like a tomb. It's empty. It's quiet. Everything would be dim. There is light coming from above, that reddish light coming from above, and it's cast on the stone body, the dead body of Asperia, which is much too large for anyone to move now. Like, what are you going to do with it? She was like Godzilla size, and now she's a statue. So her dead body is just standing there in the center of the Azorius Hall. And that's the last shot that we see before we crossfade over to the host. And I think that Winnegar, you had just finished telling everybody kind of like where you'd been and what you've been up to, and what you've learned. And so we've all kind of come back around, standing in front of the big conspiracy board in the cluttered karaoke room, which definitely has an ant problem now, in the back of Host in the Shell.
Ants are the best, so.
Okay, fair.
I have a question. We didn't hear any bit from that town crier about a buzz about this new great Rakdos play on the rise. Like no gossip about that.
Listen, town criers don't often talk about the arts and entertainment section. It's not really not really a big grab. Like, hear ye, community theater production of My Fair Lady to begin at Rixmati this evening.
How much for a paper, boy? 2 bits, sir.
That'll be 2 zibs, sir. And he like, the theater section. Not.
We have
not
to find Ravnica Perez Hilton and get the one from him.
It's a tiny little advert in the paper that says like coming soon to a Rixmati near you.
I like the idea that there's a trailer for your theater production.
No.
Yeah, so we fade back in on our conspirators. What now? What do you do? What is the plan from here? You've been a bit adrift, and things have been honestly utterly chaotic. So, what do you think?
We currently have no standing orders from the conspiracy or
the rose. Yeah, the rose has kind of gone dark. Which might be concerning to Winnegar. I think Winnegar and Torgor maybe are the ones that know this. Dovinban knows who she is. And so putting those two things together might be somewhat unsettling. That's also the other thing is that the guild that she used to belong to, maybe still does, we don't know where she's been replaced, has undergone like massive dramatic changes to ownership as well. Actually, now that I think about it, a lot of the guilds seem to be going through changes in leadership. Vraska's brand new. Dovinban's in charge of the Azorius. He's assured everybody, and I imagine that he had a prepared speech that he delivered, and it's been sort of broadcast to various places throughout Ravnica where he has said like, this is only temporary. This tragedy will not go unanswered. You know, we will find the culprit. We will ensure punishment. And it is my honor and my burden to only for now take control of the Azorius Senate, such that I can see us through this time of crisis. And he mentioned something about increasing production of his ornithopter network like tenfold, so that they will root out this villain and they will bring them to justice. And so yeah, the whole city, the surveillance net is widening right out from the 2 main precincts to the rest of the city.
I have a question. Did we see, like, did we hear word that like the Rose's house had been burned down, like she in a tent? Were there any signs that she had fully gotten away? Or...
I think it's all very unclear right now.
Okay.
It is a time of tumult, and she is missing. So you know, you can derive what conclusions from that little information that you like.
Well, I'll be honest. I think in this time, Torgor is just truly working on the play and like now utilizing all this information about like Dovin and like coming together with the knowledge that like, hey, we haven't heard from the Rose in a while. If Dovin had something to do with this, even more like reason to take them down. I imagine, how's the populace reaction to the increase in Ornithopter like presence? Has like,
so there's print media, right? There's newspapers. Most of them are controlled by the Dimir. There are newspapers and there's like word of mouth, but there's no like there's no radio. There's no mass broadcast system available.
Sure.
So getting a handle on like what people think is much more difficult. Yeah.
If there's no mass broadcast, then what does Vinegar publish his podcast to?
I mean, yeah, it used to be that podcasts were just some person who was obsessed about something telling everyone who looked at them about it. So it's that.
Fair.
Yeah, it's an old school podcast. Hey, have you heard about this thing I care deeply about and no one else does? Yeah, so it's hard to say. Like all you really know is you know, the feelings and opinions of the people closest to you, or I guess your guild, right? You can find that out if you spend time kind of asking people. But for now, you've all been kind of hiding out here in the Host and Shell because it's sort of the only guild neutral space that you have.
then
Yeah, so
I would say in a quarter you see Torgor just like, no, I think if we put that number before this one, it'll lose a lot of the effect. And that's the improv piece, which is going to leave them on a real high. But if you put that towards the top, it's going to deflate it for the rest of the show. Like just like doing calculations on the pages, just writing really hard into a corner. And like, because it's been a lockdown and because there's like no other direction, that's their only purpose right now.
Yeah.
And
I like that Torgor is trying to become the like Minotaur, like Jonathan Swift. Like it's this, I'm going to write a satirical play that'll show them.
It'll be more Sondheim than he's expecting, but it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Good. Nice. Yeah, you're no Bertolt Brecht.
But you've taken the note of like put less of us in it. Was that
Yes.
taken?
Yes, very much. You guys are much more minor characters supporting my magnificence. I heard you loud and clear.
How about none? How about none of?
Well, you know what? It's hard because Avenue has a really strong presence in the third act, and I
But if you think about the hero's journey, it truly at its core.
I
is
even
a
made them a
solitary
Simic
thing.
hybrid they're a Simic hybrid with a cuttlefish. Okay, they're a cuttlefish hybrid. That's completely different.
That's still too close. It's still too close. I think that if you really focused on the solitary journey that you've been on, you might find people relating to your character more.
Here's the issue. The Torgor here only stands out when they have
Torgor to say, here's the issue. You're not a writer.
Listen, I know because I took a level of Bard last time I leveled up, and you did not.
I would die. I would perish.
So there's like, and it's like, no, it's fine. Trust me, no one will know it's you. And let's also be real. This version of Road doesn't exist anymore. No one knows this version of Road. Nothing I've been writing about has been including our post-wipe.
Okay. This is, I want you to know that I feel like we've had so many bad ideas come to fruition in this room.
Name seven. Name seven.
This is the clip show. Remember that I'll throw to 7 instances.
Yeah. It's like it shows all the clips, but then Rhoda is like, good point. Actually, I can't think of a single thing.
I can't.
We're still gonna get a third though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Winnegar is like at the board, the conspiracy board, and he has like a little notebook, and he's making a mini board in his notebook of what's on the board and transferring it into his notebook. But then he's also on the next page, he's kind of focusing in on Ral and Tomek and trying to write down as much as he actually remembers or knows, which isn't much, just a couple names. And he's run into Ral, ran into Tomek once, and Ral once also, but then he remembers he ran into Ral twice. Yeah, he ran into Ral before at Rourke's like junkyard.
Yep,
your best friend,
which is
yeah, that was the first of many friend betrayals. Yeah.
Do you think that Rourke's mind was wiped? I'm sorry, I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Oh.
I didn't mean to tangent. I just like I was just like thinking about it. Sorry.
Like, yeah, and that's something kind of we don't really we kind of do all our discussions in character, and we never really discuss like conspiracy theory outside of that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what.
Hey, Winnegar.
Hey, what's
looks
going
like
on?
you could fix a friend relationship.
Yeah, I guess
you could meet this guy and act like you don't know him, but then talk about all the things he loves. And the next thing you know, boom, you're best friends again. Because he's like, oh, I don't know who this guy is, but
we're not talking about Demir stuff with Tack in the room. Good God, we gotta stop.
I think Tack would not know that this is Demir stuff because like my role was astoundingly poor.
It was very bad. Yes,
it was incredibly bad. So I think Tack would just be like, yeah, all of my most meaningful relationships have been built on manipulation.
Yeah, guys, I guess I just don't know how to make friends. And then it does a flashback of him making all these friends.
Yeah, and then Tack like killing them off camera.
Well, that's the other approach to the clip show is the Rashomon, where you're like, that's not how I remember it. And then that act is it like Winninger's 2 feet tall, like taller than everyone else, and like
has a mustache.
Everybody really respects him, and he has all these friends. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I also want to be changing the conspiracy board to see how hard Winnegar is concentrating while he's taking notes. I just want to add things.
You want to add things to it? Okay.
I don't know.
I like that because it might be a tangent that he needs to get out of the box and like learn new things.
Oh, you think it's meaningful? It's penis drawings. It's it's like dotting eyes with like wieners and stuff like that. Like,
I don't think Winnegar cares about that at all.
I don't think so either. I just want to see if he does it.
He'll be like, oh, looks like other people have interesting like writing skills, calligraphy, like.
Change all the R's to B's in like one sentence.
Okay, guys, what are we gonna do? I know Torgord's got his writing going on, getting into casting pre-production real soon. But what are we doing?
That's a great question. I don't know how long we're gonna wait for the Rose to tell us that she's alive.
Should we maybe give her and let the other people who want to know some information about what we've been up to?
It's the most subtle thing you've ever done.
I know what's going on. Tack got a 3.
Good. If you have any updates of Worth, yes, but from what it sounds like, you're still in casting and pre-production. So
that is an update of Worth. Okay, that's pretty good.
Did we update the Rose and say that I had gone to that meeting? Because I remember telling them about it, but I don't remember if we told the Rose about it. Like,
we don't have a way to get back to her.
The last thing you had from her was go check out this meeting.
Okay.
Though, let me clarify. So. I don't want to introduce, I mean, I do want to introduce more paranoia, so I'm just going to do it.
Yay.
So the last information you got from the Rose was in New Prov, which we understand now to be controlled by Dovin Ban, who knows who the Rose is.
Yeah.
So do you think that your orders to go and check out the meeting were from the Rose or from Dovin Ban trying to pretend that he was the Rose?
I don't think that Tack knows enough about Dovin Ban.
Yeah, this was a general, because I think Winnegar and Torgor know that, but Tack doesn't yet. So Tack,
so Tack thinks it is the Rose.
Yeah.
And I think Tack would be like, "Oh, did you guys remember to do a dead drop to let her know that I saw what's his name?"
Do you have a dead drop location right now? Because I don't have a dead drop location right now.
I sure don't. I thought that was your job.
Yeah, I guess that's my job.
You handled all the dead drops last time, so.
No, and I will this time. We just don't have one right now.
Cool. It's
That's
like
that's not my fault.
Yeah, the temperature in this room just like shifts down a few degrees. It's just like
Neat. Cool. Then I don't have anything planned for today. What do you guys want to do?
Well, this is my lunch break. I technically do have to go back to work at some point.
Yeah, this writers meeting needs to like really just pick up. I gotta give Gary some notes, and I don't know. Ezekiel's been all up, and trust me, his revisions aren't really revisions.
Gary's in the play. How come Gary gets to be in the play?
No, not this Gary. It's another Gary.
Oh no, Gary too.
It's very,
it's just Gary but with a mustache.
It's a cool Rakdos Gary.
Oh no,
Gary, do you know you have a doppelganger with the
Gary's
same
a
name?
secret juggalo. I like the idea of Gary too being like an enormous ogre or something, or like a cyclops. And eventually the two of them will meet and they'll get married. I guess they'll get garried, but
oh no, I love it.
It's so funny because if we wanted to have like just the most anticlimactic ending to the show, that moment of like, well, I should really get back to working on my play. Yeah, I gotta get back to work. All right, guys.
Just all leave.
Bye.
And
And they never speak again, and that's the end.
Yeah.
Go 1 year show. Go
Like,
1 year
just-
and
just-
Jace
yeah.
Beleren Must Die.
Just let Jace will die eventually. Just let him live his life. It's fine.
Yeah, I guess like Tack like looks at Torgor, looks at Rose like, "Oh, cool. You guys gotta go back to your jobs and your lives and your families. That's cool." And then looks at Winnegar is like, "Cool. Do you want to get a pizza or?" Never mind.
No, get a pizza. I was just thinking. I was stunned that you were asking me to hang out. Yeah. Let's
You're
get a
literally
pizza.
the only person left.
Well, I mean, there's other people left. I also think you would prefer being alone than hanging out with me. So I'm moving up in the ranks, huh?
Cool talk, bro.
Okay.
Should we do something, or do we just? How long are we going to stay in this holding pattern?
So what are our leads right now? Because I explained everything that that happened, and so my biggest lead is maybe Rourke. Like going back to when I first met Ral and finding out what he was doing. Like what was he doing there? That's such a weird spot to be.
Yeah, isn't Rourke a trash man?
Yeah.
Junk man, but similar pathos,
Junk
I
lord.
guess.
Oh,
That's actually his
okay.
last name. His name is Rourke Junkman.
Okay, so trash that you can sell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which honestly, you can probably sell any trash. I mean, I've bought a lot of trash.
Selling trash is what we do here on Jace Beleren Must Die every week, week in, week out.
And you're
That's why you hired me,
That's
really.
right, and you're buying.
100%.
I love this is the scene where we find out we have no common ground. It's like when you
Yeah.
Well, what's on everyone else's mind? Like, what would be on Tack's mind what did Tack learn that has Tack being curious right now?
Tack is definitely thinking primarily about the consequences of Vraska killing Esperia, because as much as Tack talks about, oh no, I stabbed people to the face, there's a difference between mugging someone in a dark alley and murdering them, and like transforming one of the most powerful people in Ravnica to stone. Because Tack's actions have no consequences, but Vraska's actions have very clear consequences.
When I do the bad thing, nobody really gets hurt. But when she did the bad thing, ooh, like, boy.
Okay, but let's be like realistic about it. As much as I don't care about guilds and I don't think that they're real and I think they're dumb, if I kill someone, I go to jail. But if Vraska kills someone, everybody goes to jail.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Is that as soon as you like, you have the advantage, Tack, of being somewhat abnormal for your guild, right? We've talked about this many times, where you're a goblin in the Golgari and there's not that many of them. So it's somewhat easier for you to avoid notice. But the Crawl, the Devkarin, any of the like Undying, like any of the Golgari that are traditionally known to be Golgari, they're in deep shit. And that's why they've all been like, we're going to go back underground where the cops don't come, and we are going to stay there until all this blows over, or until Vraska has a plan. And you can imagine that right now Vraska is probably having a very uncomfortable meeting with all of the members of the Golgari who are like, you've doomed us. Like, what are you doing? This is insane.
Yeah.
Right.
You just threw an incredibly deadly tantrum.
Yeah. Yeah. So she is probably in the midst of that. So the Golgari, the other thing is that Vraska is she's an Okran, right? So like your mom's loyalties may be divided if she's like, well, she's the guild leader and a member of the Okran, so I have loyalty to her there, but also she did a dumb thing, but you don't know. I mean, you don't know what your mom thinks of that yet.
The thing is that in all hives, you take your orders from the queen. And if there is a new, bigger, stronger, better queen, you pretty much oust the weaker queen and take orders from her. But like now we're back in this tumult where we're not sure we want to take orders from this queen if her orders endanger the hive as a whole. Yeah. And I think that even though Tack doesn't really think of themselves as Golgari that much, you can't just deprogram 8 whole years of
most of a long goblin life.
Yeah, of that training, that social expectation and things like that. So there's very much like a, man, she's really hot and really cool, but everyone I know could die. And so like even as Tack's like, do you want to order a pizza? They're also like shoving everything sharp into like, I don't know, like a plastic bag or something, like a trash bag. They have none of their gear. So they're just like grabbing sharp things and like dessert spoons. And now you find out that the reason they use kitchen implements is because they get arrested a lot, and so they never have real
like, this isn't a knife, it's a spoon. No one could ever kill anyone with a spoon.
With a melon baller? How?
A melon baller? It's because,
I don't know, man. I get arrested and the first thing I want is brunch.
Wait, could Rhoda have maybe like pulled something off and gotten Tack their equipment back?
Oh my god.
Because now I'm a guild member.
I mean, you could certainly try. You could requisition the appropriate forms and what have you. Yeah.
It depends. I'll look into it.
Like as Tack's like, hey, do you want to get a pizza? They're like taking couch lining and like cutting it and making a new outfit.
No.
Yeah, that's what their light leather clothing is made.
Tack, I will just go buy you clothes. Do you want that?
No.
We use the couch though is like, we use it all the time.
I like this couch.
So we should keep it nice, right? Because we like it.
It's already like safety pinning the sides together.
Oh no. All right.
I don't know what the problem is. I do this literally every week. I'll just move this couch into one of the other ones. It's like if you go into the other karaoke rooms, they've all got like dress patterns cut out.
Just constantly seats are
I need to find my mom, and I probably need to not get arrested. So if you guys got plans for that, that sounds great. Because Vraska really fucked us over.
I'll come with you.
Do you need help?
I don't need help. I don't know.
No,
I lean over to Road. That's the way Tech asks for help.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't need help. It's just that, like, if y'all aren't doing anything, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I was going that way anyway, so like that's cool.
Were
That's
you?
how you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also had nothing going on, so I'll also.
Don't you have
along, I
work?
suppose. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it was at the end of the day anyway. Like I think that you would all because Gary was leaving when you were getting here, right? So
Oh, that's true. We did break in here with the goblin lockpick at like 11 o'clock at night.
You don't you don't need to go back. You're not needed at the office until tomorrow morning.
And a tackle look at Torgor, like
Torgor looks at the script, and this is all to get an audience with Rakdos. This is all because having the ideal ability of having Rakdos turn on Dovinban and like get him to be able to take out this other guild would be phenomenal. Or having Rakdos reclaim my soul from the Dimir and like secure me away from like that is Torgor's like entire motivation right now.
Mm-hmm.
But upon seeing the fact that Tack is actually asking for help in some capacity, is like
like Tack does as best as Tack is able.
this is actually also how TK asks for help, and it's very like this is a very uncomfortable situation for me outside of game as well.
Yeah,
Torgor looks at it, it's like, there's this shower principle that I was reading about this writer that sometimes if you're working on something, you just need to go and like take a blood shower in someone's blood, and then you'll have inspiration when you get back to it. So yeah, let's do it.
Wow, I thought you were going to say something really stupid, but that makes sense.
So, Torgor, can you, because you've been working on, and we've been doing this kind of at the beginning of the session. You've been working on your play. Do you want to make a roll?
I'd love to
continue your progress.
For sure. Where is this another performance?
Yeah, I think it'll be
this...
the same. Yeah, the same roll that you made last time. So I think it's performance.
Cool. Gotcha. See what we can do.
Ooh,
that's a nat 20 plus 6.
26. Jeez, that's a lot better than the 11 you got last time.
Thank you. Middling it out.
That's awesome. Okay, cool.
Once he cut out the rest of the conspiracy from the plot, it really.
I was gonna say there was a lot of fat I needed to trim.
Once you cut Tack, Road, and Winnegar's characters, the whole thing got so much better. It's just very clear.
Yeah. I imagine him getting mad. He's like, God, she's right. This is the hero's journey.
I think I just like my friends more than society will. Okay, that's all right.
That's true. That's fair.
Somebody read your script and they were like, Torgor, this character is great. These other three totally unbelievable. Who would ever hang out with these people?
It's like I like this main character. I just don't give a fuck about these other things.
Balsamic, I can't get on board. Honestly,
do we need a 10-page monologue about burning down orphanages? I don't think so.
It's like, honestly,
why would these characters keep hanging out with each other?
Yeah, that's the most. It just like Torgor. It just feels like diversity for diversity's sake. This could really just be a Rakdos story without including all of these other guilds.
It felt a little tokenizing. You're right. As I was writing it, I could feel it.
Yeah. I was like, as I was telling that joke, I was like, where is this gonna land?
Yes, and here.
TK,
we got it.
Thank you.
TK makes jokes like other people jump out of airplanes.
I sure do. I was like, sometimes it's hard.
Parachute? Yeah, I got a parachute. Okay, we're good.
Because like as I was telling the joke, I'm like, it's cool. I'm not the only brown person on this podcast, so I can make it. But at the same time, I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know. Anyway.
Cool.
There will, and I will say this. So for this, the reason I'm getting you to check, Torgor, is that eventually I will tell you. I will say the play is done. You are finished. Like you've come to the end, and it is done. And when that happens, we will talk about performing it. And I want that to be a thing where and that's our sort of equivalent is like of a clip show is I want to dedicate an episode to Torgor's production, and I want us all to go through it and do the thing. So we'll keep at it. I'll give you some warning when we get closer, but yeah, I definitely want to make that a thing. I think it's worth having it on screen because getting Rakdos on board is a big deal. So also it'll be really fun.
At some point, I'm gonna find roles for everybody in this production. Road's gonna come in and do the fight choreography. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it'll the only way it'll work as a thing for the show is that if all of the players, like if it's Tack, but Tack is playing like Ral, or like like if you assign them roles within your play, and then we get to do the thing there. Yeah,
they might be better behind the scenes, but we'll see what chops they got.
Yeah,
Rod comes out opening and still has the script in her hand. Hark.
Two houses, both alike in dignity, in
It's just
Ravnica,
written
where
on the
we
inside of her arm. It's smudged like
No, wait, each tentacle.
I was about to say this is a
really
really good like Warner Brothers cartoon visual joke where she gets to the end of the line, is like, uh-oh, and then the tentacle unrolls and it has the rest of the line. Yeah, very nice.
Oh, no.
I'm so happy. What were we talking about?
I think maybe going to.
I think we can go get a pizza. I think was what was going to happen.
Pizza, Golgari Underground, Rourke's place.
Yeah,
It's okay. All the best pizzas in the Golgari Underground, so it's fine.
Is
I
that
mean, I don't know.
true?
The Undercity has some good options too.
Yeah.
But they're kind of right. It above ground doesn't have good stuff.
I want to go to Pete's. It's nice and it's normal and it's safe. Can we
Why
just
would
go
you
to
get
the-
pizza from someone named Pete?
That sounds ridiculous.
It's
Ugh.
so his
joke,
name.
that's my favorite pizza place in Chicago. It's called Pete Pizza. Like,
Ooh.
5 minutes from my house. I love it.
Pete's.
We're gonna have a conversation during the break about
be
Chicago
honest, like-
addresses.
Honestly, like there's a pizza buffet in Bowling Green a couple hours south of me, and it's like Greg's Pizza House or something, and it's really good. Great, like the crust consistency is just like, and they do their sauce isn't too sweet anyway.
I'm on
Yeah.
board.
So you want
So
to?
good.
Where do you? I mean, we could very easily like diagonal wipe to the group. Everybody's holding a piece of pizza, and you're approaching Rourke's junkyard, right? So let's do that. So you've got pizza. If it's Golgari pizza, it's probably mushroom and bugs.
It's a ton of
delicious.
mushrooms.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Lots of like, I like mushrooms on pizza, but a 4 mushroom pizza would probably not be very.
First of all, it's incredibly salty because there's like they've got like the little anchovy capers, but they're like little mutated like sewer anchovies.
Yeah.
So
Sewer anchovies?
I am so hungry.
For sewer anchovies. I don't know. Which I guess here, this is our fan interaction moment. Leave a comment in the YouTube video. Which Ravnican guild makes the best pizza and why? There you go.
Yeah.
So you all
We'll
have
wait.
you got some slices. You're on your way. Did you say we'll wait?
We'll wait.
We'll wait. Hour later, still no one has said anything.
I am so hungry.
So you find your way back to it's adjacent to the Izzet headquarters, right? Like his junkyard is nearby. It's in that same neighborhood. And like I think it's clear to us and to the characters as well that something is going on that is unusual in terms of like scope and scale here at the Izzet headquarters. Like it's just always kind of like stormy and rainy and stuff, but there's a lot more. Like the closer you get to the Izzet headquarters, the more intense the storm seems to become. Now it's not like lots of rain and wind, it's an electrical storm. So everybody notices like their hair starting to kind of stand on end, and everything gets a little bit like electrically charged when you get within a certain distance. And every few minutes you hear the crack of a lightning, and if you look up and you watch, it's like a Jacob's ladder. There's little bits of light energy kind of coming off of the spire, and it's clear, especially to Winnegar, that like something serious is going on in there. But you're not here for that today. You're here to visit the junkyard, which is nearby. Small rolling hills of trash, failed Izzet projects, and what have you. But also, also, you see the flashing blue and white lights of a couple of Azorius Thopters. They're sitting outside the gate. So there's a big fence around the junkyard. And there's like a hand painted wooden sign on the fence that's like hanging kind of loose, and it says "Beware of Rourke." And because he doesn't have a dog, I don't actually think there are. Are there dogs in Ravnica?
There are only Otyugs.
Yeah, right. I don't actually think there are. I've never seen one.
I think there are
Ravnica dog.
Kind. Yeah.
There'd be like animals that look dog-like, but I don't know if there's like straight up like pet dogs.
Okay, so Resolute Watchdogs. Okay, so that's a card, a Resolute dog.
Okay, so they're like hounds and stuff. All right. Okay.
Moss dog? What the fuck? I'm sorry.
Rourke can't afford a big dog like that. But yeah, the Azorius are already here, and I think that as you come within sight of the Thopters, kind of flashing lights, you see two law mages, or a law mage and a arrestor, like uniformed Azorius officers, leading Rourke out of the junkyard in handcuffs, and Rourke is shouting at them, like, "Hey, what? I didn't do anything. I keep telling you, I didn't do anything." And they're just like, "All right, Mr. Rourke, we're going to take you back. We have some questions for you." And he's just like he's almost to the point where he's going to like resist arrest, but he hasn't yet. And he hasn't seen you, and they haven't seen you. The Thopters haven't noticed you. You kind of peer around a corner, and then you have the opportunity to like get back and decide what you're going to do.
Yeah, get back and decide what we're gonna do.
Yeah. Right. So like you're around a corner, and you can hear Rourke, and I guess they'd be taking him to, they'd be just taking him to arrest him. I'm gonna head him back there. So,
Ro, can you stop him? Can you get him from them?
I don't.
Yeah, Ro, use your intern powers.
Yeah,
right. You can't arrest him. I know, because I'm a low-ranking legal aid.
Yeah, I don't.
Go offer to get him a latte or something.
What?
Thank you. Yes, I can go offer to get those cops a latte with my intern powers.
Thank you.
Tack holds up their hand for a high five from literally anyone. Nice.
Maybe you can find out where they're going to be keeping him, and
yeah, I mean, if you want to let him get arrested, I can find out why later, but that's the best I can offer you right now.
Unless we want to try and take down 2 guards, 2 Thopters, and Rourke in some capacity.
Yeah, I don't. Oh my God, Carlos.
I like it. It's very immersive. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So where we at right now? What are we gonna do?
I peek my hat out. They look like, well, yeah, if the Ornithopters are here, we don't really have to worry about the Ornithopters because they just report back to someone's dad here. So it's not really that big of a where someone here at this table is friends with the Ornithopter owner. So we don't really have to worry about that. We just have to take out the 2 guards.
Yeah, we just got to take out the 2 guards. What type of cutlery do I have?
I assume that you have some kind of like potentially killing implement on hand at any given time.
A sharpened Sunday spoon.
Right.
With a long like parfait. I mean, it's got a huge handle.
You work in a location that has all kinds of cutlery, and Gary constantly is like, "Well, guess I better go to the Costco and buy some more spoons."
Work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like a parfait spoon with like the really long handle.
Okay.
Like the end of the handle is just like a shiv.
Yeah.
Just like ready.
I talk to the group and be like, well, I have an idea. And I want to cast a minor illusion of Vraska around a corner with my loot. And so they like see
Does she like pull up her skirt and stick her leg out around the corner like,
Just got her like tentacles out and like was taking
and then when they come over, they find out it wasn't Vraska at all, but it was a big thing of TNT, and they blow up.
Absolutely.
Also, Torgor just out here casting spells. Look at these personal growth.
Loot now.
Yeah. So is that what it looks like? Like, do you play like a chord on the lute and like sing a little song about Vraska, and then she like you conjure the illusion?
Oh my god.
Yes, absolutely. But when I strum the strings, like you see them move and you hear the plucking, but there's no like music. Because in that instant, like it instantly goes towards.
Oh right, yeah, that's cool. Well, and minor illusion, there's no verbal component, right? So you can do it without being able to speak. So yeah, somatic and a material component.
Oh my gosh, you just hear like the desperado music, just like Santana.
And suddenly Vraska's like moving around, like from where we are, we see them around the corner, and then I'd assume like a distance away down a track is where I would like Vraska to appear. So they like run off in this direction and we can run and grab them.
Can we see it, or is it just them?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. I would like to assist in deceiving them this way by being like, what the fuck is that, Vraska? Because Tack has no idea that Torgor can do this.
Get her, boys. So let me see. You create the image of an object within range, such as a chair, muddy footprint, or small chest, no longer in a 5-foot cube. I don't think minor illusion can create people.
Okay.
I think you need a better version of illusion to do that.
What about like a shadow?
You can create, you could create something that is, like Vraska's shadow is actually okay under minor illusion, because it's an object. It's not a person. So like the shadow of a Gorgon drawn from your memories of what Vraska looks like, and that can appear anywhere within 30 feet of you.
Cool.
Hot shadow.
So
and I'll do it.
Yep. Yeah. That's actually her nickname, the Hot Shadow, Vraska.
The Hot Shadow.
Oh my god, I love her more.
So I'll just draw up at the top of the map up here just to give you kind of a general idea of where things are. So if there's like the fence of the junkyard, right? And then the Azorius goons and Rourke are here, and there's two little kind of sentry ornithopters, which will flank them as they leave, right? And then y'all are, there's the street, and there's like a building here, and a building there, and this is the street. And I imagine you're like here.
Cool.
Right.
Then I would love to like have the shadow be like placed here.
Okay.
Almost like stretching from back there so they like kind of zoom around.
Yeah. So you want the shadow sort of flickering over here, and then Tack is gonna try to help by being like, "Yo, what's that?" And then get them to turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
TK is helping. Tack is like, "Whoa."
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. You're implementing your character to help in a way that your character doesn't realize they're helping. Good.
Yeah.
Good director stance. Okay. All right. So, Torgor, you just need to cast the spell. It's on them to fail the intelligence roll. Tack, why don't you make a deception check?
I would love to. Wait, am I good at that? I am not.
This will just determine whether or not they care about your random. No, they don't. This random goblin shouting. But one of them looks and
Gerblin. One
of them looks and sees the shadow, and they look at each other, and the other looks up at the ornithopters. And gestures like, go check it out. And I feel like they should all just have stormtrooper voice, like, go check it out. So, but he points. He's like, yeah, you two go check that out. And they, the ornithopters turn and in unison hover and flutter off that direction to go and look. So you have like 5 seconds before they realize that it's an illusion. What are you gonna do? So the two little thopters like buzz off, and the Azorius and Rourke continue their little walk across the street.
Should we Like,
oh, and this area isn't it's not like abandoned. Like it's nighttime, but remember, Ravnica is both an enormous metropolitan and it's whatever the fancy sci-fi word for planet city is. There's people everywhere all the time. So there are people watching. They're like, oh, that guy's getting arrested. I wonder what he did. Like there's some gawkers that have gathered kind of around the area.
Holding up their cell phones.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so yeah, if you wanna just like rush them and take them down, you can. But
not if there are people around. No, not if there are people around. Vinegar, you can go try and talk to him before the Azorius.
Do my best killing when people are around.
So Torgor, I don't want to. I'm speaking as the voice of your natural Minotaur instinct.
Yeah.
The urge to lower your head and run as fast as you can at someone is very, very strong right now. That like all I gotta do is just put the horns forward and then just fucking give her
bam bam.
Some deep atavistic urge. There's two of them.
Yeah. There's two of them.
Yeah.
And we don't. And there's like citizens nearby in some capacity.
Yeah, there's like probably a bunch of like people ungilded who work for the Izzet League, and then maybe like 2 or 3 members of the Izzet League who are either like just walking around in the streets because that's the neighborhood, or maybe they have business in the area, but nobody is like, there's nobody being like, oh man, I needed to get in there. Like nobody's personally invested in the situation.
Winnegar wants to be like, wants to turn to Torgor and sees that like, oh, he wants to go. He wants to take this guy on, or he wants to take these guys on. He turns to Torgor and is just like, remember in the second act of your play when they need a distraction and they pretend to be in a fight to get the 2 guards to like split them up? Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's go. Yeah. The Tom and Jerry. Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay, walk me through the plan here.
So I want to like stroll up to the 2 guards. Hopefully Tack and Road sneak in while we cause this distraction.
Yeah, but I pass without a trace on Tack and I as we retreat back into the shadows.
I want to be like, hey, Rourke. And then like basically be like, you owe me money. And like try to shake down Rourke while he's being arrested.
Yeah, because like what's he gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
I do my best mugging when people are being arrested.
I would love to do the help action by acting like a racketeer in this.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. So you're the muscle that Winnegar has brought along to convince Rourke, because Rourke is a lot bigger. And again, remember, because of the way my brain works, Rourke is played by Mickey Rourke. Don't forget, Mickey Rourke circa the wrestler. So he's like big and kind of bald and like he's an older dude. He probably like, he's just like, he spent too much time around Izzet chemicals. But yeah, if Winnegar wanted to intimidate somebody like Rourke, he'd have to bring some like muscle along. So that makes sense. Okay. So the 2 of you stride out into the street. You walk out in the street, Tack and Road withdraw into the shadows. And you just start like beelining towards Rourke, like loud voices talking about like, hey, where do you think you're going? You owe me money. Is that the gist of it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so immediately as you approach, you get the whole like it puts the Azorius into sort of high alert, and one of them draws a wand and points it at you, and she says, she's like, stop right there. And like points the wand crackles with mana.
Whoa. I don't got no beef with you. And he turns back around at like Torgor. Pretty good, right?
I mean, a little offensive, but that's fine. It's only because I'm bovine.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
This is actually Winnegar's like audition.
Yeah. And Winnegar like looks back over at Torgor and is like, my quarrel ain't with you. It's with this poser.
Are you just quoting lines from Torgor's play to try to seem tough? Like there was almost a "Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?" in there.
It's like my quarrel ain't with this squirrel. It's with this guy over here.
Okay. Yeah. So the arrestor. So you can see clearly now that it's an arrestor and a law mage. The arrestor puts his hand on his crossbow, which he has like slung up near the front of him. And he puts his hands on it to like hold it, like don't come any closer. And he says, I'm sorry, citizen, any business you have with this man, you'll have to take it up with him in New Prav. He's going away. And
how am I supposed to get my money if you're putting this guy away?
And Rourke says, I didn't even do anything. And the arrestor says, yeah, that doesn't matter anymore. And he turns back and he looks at you and he says, you're going to need to back off or you're going to be joining him in a cell. You and your Minotaur friend.
Okay. When does he get out? I need to know when this fool's gonna be released. This honky's gonna be released.
No.
Yeah.
Tack and Rev get distracted. They're like,
Torgor runs with this and it says, yeah, we need this honky for a tonk real fast. And I want it to be done so that he's also casting Tasha's hideous laughter. Like how ridiculous he's doing this is for the arrestor to like just start bursting out in laughter at our statement.
So what Tasha's hideous laughter, what are the components of that spell?
Visual, somatic, and material.
Oh, verbal, somatic, and material. Okay, so the Law Mage, I'm gonna give them a chance to see that you're casting a spell. And if they succeed, then we're gonna roll initiative, and if they fail, then you can cast the spell without them doing anything. So the DC is, what level is Tasha's first? It would have to be your level 1. Okay, so the DC is 16 to recognize the spell. Here we go. I got 16. So she shouts unauthorized spell casting. Get on the ground. And she goes to cast a spell from the wand and people start to scatter and Rourke again yells, I didn't even do anything. and as chaos reigns over the scene, we will take that opportunity to take our break here. And when we get back, we will see new and improved spellcasting Torgor and Winnegar take on a couple of Azorius.
Watch out, I got 1 spell slot left.
Excellent. Well, that's all right. You're still an 8th level fighter, so you're probably going to be okay. All right. Stick around. We will be right back.